What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 3 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is about a 90% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 90% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 90% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $300 just yesterday. Another member who won $100 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Devin Wayne 4164 who said I want to sign up, so I'm helping him out after this video, so shouts out to him. Shouts out to LLQ J Full who said Mr. for less. So I do love my less picks, I'm sorry about it, but they do hit, so shouts out to him. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Rudy Gobert, and this one is for 8.5 points, and this one is for less. Now looking at Rudy Gobert, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those last 5 games, we see that on April 28th, faced off against LA Lakers where he had 5 points there. Then faced off on May 1st against LA Lakers again where he had 27 points. Moving on from that, faced off against Golden State Warriors in game 1 on actually May 7th where he had 9 points there. Then May 9th against Warriors again for game 2 had 5 points. And then to finish off the round, we had May 11th, game 3, we actually saw him have 10 points. Now we do very much like the under for this situation here. Like we mentioned, he has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is 11.2. Now, when it comes to someone like Rudy Gobert, I also do want to mention that when it comes to his average over the last 5, it definitely is a little bit skewed because he did have 27 points in the closeout game against the LA Lakers. So that definitely had a huge effect on the average over the last 5, which I think is super important to understand. But looking at the matchup, Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves, very exciting matchup. Now, Timberwolves do lead the series 2-1. Game 1 was given by the Golden State Warriors. They were able to take that win. Timberwolves took game 2, and Timberwolves were able to close out game 3 even despite being down a majority of the game. So they were able to finalize and capitalize in that game 3. They currently find themselves up 2-1. Now this is a very crucial game as well due to the fact that, like it has been rumored, Steph Curry is not going to be playing in this game, but Steph is expected to return by game 6. However, the Minnesota Timberwolves can actually close it out and finish off the deal in 5 games if they win this one and win the next one. So it's still a very interesting time. Timberwolves are definitely going to try to push for these next 2 wins in order to move on to the next round and try to avoid, Steph Curry coming back to the Warriors. Now, looking at where both of these teams ranked in the Western Conference, we saw that Timberwolves came in at the 6th spot with a 49-33 record. They have a 59.8% win percentage, which was great to see. And they face off against the Golden State Warriors, who do have a record of 48-34 and a 58.5% win percentage. So they definitely are a fantastic team, both of them. Now, looking at their first round, Golden State Warriors were able to beat out the top team, or the second top team in that, in a sense that they beat the Houston Rockets, who had a 52-30 record, and then Timberwolves were able to knock out the higher ranking team, which was the Los Angeles Lakers, who had the 3rd spot with a 50-32 record. So both of the underdogs, technically based off ranking, did make it through to the next round. Now they both face off against each other. And looking at the Golden State Warriors, we do see that the Golden State Warriors defensively, when it comes to points allowed, do rank 8th. So they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points. On on top of that, they also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like Rudy Gobert, it's definitely an interesting one because Gobert, yes, he did have a bit of an outlier game, and it's brought this line a little bit too high that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. Now, looking even further, we also do see that, the Golden State Warriors and Minnesota matchup, Warriors have definitely been playing their bigs quite a lot, whether that's Trace Jackson-Davis, Kevon Looney, has definitely caused a bit of trouble to Rudy Gobert. So, we definitely do like the under for this next game. We did see him go on the over in a couple of the games against Warriors, but he only made it over by 0.5, 1.5 here and there. So we think in this next one, we should actually see, more likelihood, which is the under for this one. Now, we are also expecting Warriors to make adjustments there, but looking at when the Golden State Warriors did face off against, Minnesota in the past or in the season, we did see on the 6th of actually December, we actually saw him have 17 points. Then on the 8th of December, faced off again where he had 4 points. Then 21st of December as well had 18 points. And then the 15th of January had 7 points. Now, when we look at this situation, we do very much see that he has gone on the under in 2 out of those 4 games. So it's definitely an interesting time for him. Now, when we look at this, in more in-depth as well, we are expecting in this matchup, the Timberwolves are most likely going to slow down Warriors' pace quite a lot, especially with Steph Curry out. We have actually seen Warriors slow down their pace as well. So we are expecting a pretty slower pace game in this matchup, which means less pace, means less volume, and less opportunities for Rudy Gobert. Especially for someone like Gobert, who doesn't already have a high usage rate in the points department. He tends to score off lobs, off offensive rebounds at times, and just more situational sort of scoring. So because of that reason, we do still like the under for this one. So Rudy Gobert, 8.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Derek White. So as you all know, Derek White, great player from none other than the actual, Boston Celtics. And when we look at the Boston Celtics, this is definitely a good matchup. But when we look at Derek White, a big, pick we do like for this is also points. Now, this one is for 16.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Derek White, we've actually seen him go on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on April 28th, faced off against Orlando, where he had 18 points there. Then April 30th, faced off against Orlando, where he had 5 points in that matchup. Then on May 6th, faced off against New York Knicks, where he had 19 points. Then May 8th, faced off against the Knicks again, where he had 20 points. And then May 11th against Knicks had 17 points in game 3. So Derek White has actually gone on the over, quite consistently. Now, he has only gone on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is 15.8. Now, a big reason why we do very much like the under for this, we are going to, talk about, where Derek White usage rate has been as of lately. We are expecting New York Knicks to make some massive adjustments coming into this next game, even though Derek White has had, a pretty decent first 3 games when it comes to scoring. Now, looking at the matchup, Boston and New York Knicks, we do see, when it comes to both of these teams, we did see Boston finish off in the Eastern Conference with a second Eastern Conference ranking. So it actually came second, which was great, and had a record of 61-21, which is a 74.4% win percentage. So they did a fantastic job there. And they face off against the New York Knicks, who do have a 51-31 record with a 62.2% win percentage. So it's definitely been an interesting one there. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, especially in round 1, we both saw them do a very good job. We did see Celtics be able to beat the Magic pretty easily. Now, Magic came in at the 7th, so Boston were expected to win that one. And then Knicks, on the other hand, were able to beat Detroit, who did rank 6th, so they were also expected to win that one as well. Now, this has been a very good matchup because we do see, even though Knicks are the lower seed, they do currently lead the series 2-1. Now, this one's an important one. They do say that this is a very crucial game for, the Boston Celtics. They definitely need to win this if they want a proper shot, because going down 3-1 is definitely a very, very tough, matchup, I would say. So, they definitely do want to try to get this win as much as they can. Now, looking at New York Knicks, we do see New York Knicks, when it comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 9th. So, they rank very, very high. And on top of that, we do also see that the Knicks do actually, or have actually, done a great job at restricting points to the guard position. Now, when it comes to someone like Derek White, we do very, very much like this pick due to the fact that when we look at Derek White, he is a guard. New York Knicks do a fantastic job, especially against guards, and we should see him go on the under in this one. Now, although he has gone on the over in the most recent 3 games, we do believe that there are going to be a lot of defensive adjustments New York Knicks are going to make in this next matchup. So for that reason, although he has gone on the over in the last 3, we are going against the grain a little bit on this one. We do very much like the under, and we are expecting New York Knicks to make massive adjustments there. Now, looking at the matchup even further, we did see Derek White actually face off against the Knicks quite often. We did see on the 22nd of October, we saw him have 24 points. Then on February 8th, we actually saw him have 17 points. And then on the 23rd of February, he actually had 19 points. Then after that, on the 8th of actually, April, we actually saw him have 14 points there. So, as you see, we did only go on the under in 1 out of those 4 games, but we do believe and still believe in the under in this situation here. Like we always do agree, guys, we think it is on a per scenario basis. Each game is very different, especially in the playoffs. And yes, there will be times where people do go on the over on their mathematical line that they're supposed to hit, but we think in this one, it should turn the other way, and we could see a lot more defensive pressure on Derek White, coming into this next matchup. No doubt about it. Like I mentioned, New York Knicks did lose the last game, and Derek White had himself a pretty decent game there, so we are expecting massive adjustments there. So for that reason, Derek White 16.5 points for less, I think, is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than actually Rudy Gobert's teammate, and that is none other than Julius Randall. So Julius Randall, great player. Now, this one is also a points one, and this one is for 20 points, and this one is for more. Now, looking at Julius Randall, we actually have seen him go on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. He has done a fantastic job, throughout the whole series and also just throughout the season, but we have seen on April 28th, faced off against Lakers, where he had 25 points there. Then on May 1st, faced off against the Lakers, where he had 23 points. After that, on May 7th, faced off against Warriors in Game 1, where he had 18 points. Then in Game 2, May 9th, against Warriors, where he actually had 24 points. And he backed that up in Game 3 with another 24-point performance on May 11th. So we definitely have seen a fantastic job from Julius Randall over the last couple of games. Now, when we look at Julius Randall and the matchup, as we all know, Minnesota do face off against the Golden State Warriors. So we did touch on it briefly, but just to reiterate again, obviously Minnesota and Warriors is definitely going to be an exciting matchup. Now, we obviously do know that they do lead 2-1. Now, when we look at the Golden State Warriors, they do actually rank 8th in points allowed. However, the reason why we do like the over for this situation here is that we actually do see that, Golden State Warriors do struggle against the power forward position. A big part of this as well is that Julius Randall has a very, very, high volume shooting type of nights as of lately, especially in the playoffs. We definitely have seen that in the Lakers series, and now we are seeing that in the Warriors. So even the times where he may have a couple of misses, a couple of cold games, we still see him shoot a very high volume of shots and be able to hit his line pretty effectively. So even some of these games that we have seen in the playoffs, the times that he has gone over on his line, it doesn't necessarily mean he's had a great shooting night. Sometimes his volume is just enough to get him over the line, and we definitely see that happening in this game for sure. Now, looking at the Golden State Warriors and Julius Randall matchup over the season, we definitely have seen a little bit of a difference where we actually did see on December 6th, we saw him actually have 16 points. On December 8th, had 14 points. Then 21st of December had 16, and then January 15, we actually saw him have 17 points. So we did see him, not be able to go on the over in any of those games, but we definitely have seen a different sort of play style from the Timberwolves when it comes to Julius Randall. And that fact being that Julius Randall is getting a lot more minutes out there and is also playing with a much higher usage rate when it comes to the actual, points department. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. And we definitely see him going on the over once again, in this next game, especially since he has done it in game 2, game 3, and also was able to do it at a really high rate. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation. So Julius Randall, 20 points for more, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jaylen Brunson. So as you all know, Jaylen Brunson has been doing a fantastic job for the New York Knicks throughout the whole season, and during the regular season we actually saw him average 26 points, 2.9 rebounds, 7.3 assists, while also shooting 48.8% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job there. And when it comes to the New York Knicks, we also do see that they did do a very good job during the regular season as well. Before we get into that, I do want to talk about Jaylen Brunson's ranking in points, rebounds, and assists. We actually saw him come 8th in points, 150th plus in rebounds, 8th in assists, and then 40th in field goal percentage. So he has a really, really good, usage rate in all three departments. Definitely a little bit lower in rebounds, but it's still definitely a very, very good usage rate. Now, when it comes to the New York Knicks, they do come into this next game, which is game 4 against the Boston Celtics of the second round, which is the Eastern Conference semifinals. So it's definitely been a really good series. New York do lead 2-1 in the series. However, we do know New York Knicks did take, the first 2 games very, very well. Celtics were able to answer back, and they are looking to try to tie things up, and I think it is definitely going to be an exciting game. But just to reiterate again, obviously looking at both of these teams, Knicks did come in at the 3rd spot with a 51-31 win-loss record. That is 62.2% win percentage, while the Celtics had a 61-21 record with a 74.4% win percentage. So they actually did a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like, Jaylen Brunson, we definitely have seen him do a great job. But looking at the Boston Celtics, we do see defensively, they do rank 2nd in points allowed, 3rd in assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed as well, they do rank 13th. So when it comes to someone like Jaylen Brunson, he is a big player for, this New York Knicks team. But when it comes to Jaylen Brunson, we actually do see him going on the under in this situation here. A big reason being is that Boston Celtics have made some big adjustments when it comes to their defense, and we definitely are expecting them to try to restrict Jaylen Brunson as much as they can. Boston Celtics have always done a fantastic job, especially against the point guard position. And Jaylen Brunson is a great player. Do not get me wrong. He's definitely can get hot in a hurry. But we are expecting in this next matchup, a lot of the defensive focus will be on Jaylen Brunson and trying to stop him in all 3 categories. Now, if there was a category to look at, I definitely think points and assists will definitely be the ones to look at. Rebounds, there's definitely still a possibility there, but we highly doubt that there will be a line out for the rebounding department due to the fact that his line is very low, and when it comes to lines, it tends to be off more their higher usage rate sort of categories. So we are expecting a line out for the points and assists. However, now looking at Jaylen Brunson and also his last couple of games, or his last 5 games over the playoffs, we do see it in game 5 against Detroit. He actually had 16 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds, which was fantastic. Then in game 6, had 40 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds to seal the deal with a 116-113 win. Moving on into game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against Boston, we saw him have 29 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds there. They had a 108-105 win, which was great to see. And then moving on into the next game where they won again 91-90, he had 17 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds there. Then in game 3, had 27 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds, but they did take the loss with a 115-93 loss there. So looking at this one, we do very, very much, like the under for this situation, like we mentioned. Now, obviously looking at where Jaylen Brunson has been doing so far during this series. Yes, he has gone on the over in 2 out of the 3 games points wise, but assist wise he's remained on the under, compared to his averages, which is why we do very, very much like the under for this one. So we are expecting a lot of different adjustments to come Jaylen Brunson's way, as Boston are definitely looking to switch things up. Even the times Brunson has gone on the over, it hasn't always been a convincing over. He's gone very, very close to getting on the under, but due to his volume he was able to make it on the over. But we think in this matchup, especially in game 4, which is a very, very crucial game, we should see him go on the under here. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jonathan Kaminga. So as you all know, Jonathan Kaminga is a great, great player for the Golden State Warriors, and he has done a fantastic job when it comes to, the regular season, because he actually averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists, while also shooting 45.4% from the field. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Jonathan Kaminga, we do very much like this matchup because they do face off against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So as you all know, it's definitely been a very, very exciting series. Now, obviously, looking at the series so far, Timberwolves are up 2-1. The Golden State Warriors definitely have had a really, really good series. They had a really good game last game, but they just weren't able to finish it off. So the Warriors are looking to answer back and tie this series back up, which I think is going to be an exciting game. Now, obviously, looking at the matchup between both of these teams, just to reiterate where they both stand, we did see the Golden State Warriors come in at the 7th spot in the Western Conference with a 48-34 record. So they did a fantastic job there. They also face off against the Timberwolves, who have a 49-33 record, which is a 59.8% win percentage as well. So both these teams actually beat, the top teams in their round 1. We saw Golden State Warriors did beat the Houston Rockets, who did rank 2nd and had a 52-30 record. And then the Timberwolves did beat the Lakers, who had a 50-32 record as well. And in that matchup, we also saw them both do very, very well and knock down the top team. So they're both basically, underdog teams coming into that first round, but they were able to, suffice and do very, very well. Now, both Timberwolves and Warriors, it's definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these two. Now, Golden State Warriors are still going to be missing without Steph Curry, and I do believe that's definitely going to be a huge blow to them. Now, looking at Timberwolves, however, we do see that they rank 5th when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and 8th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they're a very, very good team when it comes to defense. They have always done a great job defensively, not just throughout the regular season, but also even during the playoffs. We saw them do that against Lakers. And when it comes to Jonathan Kaminga, we do actually like the under for this situation here. Although Jonathan Kaminga did have himself a very, very good breakout game in the last matchup, we are also expecting that his line may come out very, very high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. Now, getting into someone like Kaminga, we also do see that, the Golden State Warriors are not only just going to be without Steph, but we are still expecting Kaminga to come off the bench. Now, even if he does start, we don't really see that changing that much, but we are noticing that Timberwolves have just done a fantastic job defensively, especially against the second unit, and we definitely see that being the case coming into this next game. So although he is probably going to see an increase in his usage rate, especially his minutes, we think his line is definitely going to come out a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under, even with the injury of Steph Curry. Now, looking at his most recent games, now Kaminga has definitely been in and out of rotation for some time now. So instead of the last 5 games, we can look at the last 3, which is pretty important because it is the 3 games against Minnesota. But looking at game 1, he actually had 7 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, and actually had 13 minutes of play time with a 99-88 victory. Then in game 2, we actually saw him have 18 points, 1 assist, and 5 rebounds there, where he actually had 26 minutes, so he did pretty well there. And then in game 3, we actually saw him have 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. So it's definitely been an exciting time for, Jonathan Kaminga now that he is getting a lot more minutes, but we are expecting in this next matchup, Timberwolves are most likely going to adjust. They now know Kaminga is definitely going to play some big minutes, and they are probably going to come out with a lot of different defensive strategies coming into this next game. So that's definitely going to be a huge one for them, which is why we do like the under for this one. Timberwolves have been and always will have been a great, defensive team. So we see that affecting Kaminga's line greatly. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Kaminga's line. Like I always mentioned, the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jrue Holiday. Now, Jrue Holiday, great player, as we all know, from the Boston Celtics. And he did a fantastic job during the regular season because he actually averaged 11.1 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists, while also shooting 44.3% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job there. He also ranked 104th in points, 101st in rebounds, and then 64th in actual assists. So he did very good during the regular season, especially for the role that he has for this team. Now, obviously, looking at Jrue Holiday, we also do see that the Boston Celtics did do a really good job during the regular season because they actually came in second. Now, obviously, we have already talked about this matchup. Celtics face off against Knicks. Knicks are up 2-1, and then Celtics did rank second, and then Knicks did rank third. So just to quickly reiterate that. But looking at the New York Knicks, we do see that New York Knicks, when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 9th. When it comes to assists allowed, we also do see that they rank 7th. And then when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see Knicks ranking 2nd. So they are a very good defensive team. Now, as you all know, a lot of the teams that are left in the playoffs in general are great defensive teams. Now, when it comes to this one for Jrue Holiday, we do still like the under for this situation here. A big reason being is that when it comes to Jrue Holiday, he is a point guard, and we have seen New York Knicks actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the point guard position. So we definitely see him struggling there. On top of that, when you look at a team like the Knicks as well, what we are also expecting is that when we look at the matchup between Boston and Knicks, Jrue Holiday isn't really the star player for this team. And now that they are down quite a game right now, it is a bit of an intense matchup due to the fact that Jrue Holiday and the rest of the Boston Celtics may look to continue to go to their big players like Tatum, like Porzingis, or even Jaylen Brown. And we definitely see that continuing on into this next game. Now, when it comes to Jrue Holiday over the last 5 games, we have seen him put up some pretty decent numbers. Now, in game 1 against Orlando, we actually saw him play where he had a 103-86 victory, and he had 9 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds in that matchup of 33 minutes of play. Then in game 2 of Orlando, we actually saw him have 11 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds there. Then already heading straight into round 2, game 1 against the Eastern Conference semifinals for New York, we actually saw him have 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Then in game 2, had 10 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Then in game 3, had 8 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds with a 115-93 victory. So we definitely have seen him do a fantastic job, no doubt about it. But coming into this next one, we still do like the under for this situation here. Jrue Holiday has tended to play pretty passively when it comes to not just in the regular season at times, but also during these playoffs. Yes, he has had some big games, and that will happen from time to time. But coming into this next one, where it's a very crucial game for Celtics, we are expecting a lot of the usage rate to go to their stars, like Jaylen Brown, like Tatum, like Kristaps Porzingis, and Jrue Holiday may play more of that supporting role coming into this game. So, Jrue Holiday has always been a great defender as well, and we tend to see him have a lot more defensive focus coming into this one. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for, Jrue Holiday. So as always, keep it out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So, as you all know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, great player from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he's done a fantastic job all season, but he's actually averaged 9.4 points, 3.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists, while also shooting 43.8% from the field. So he's done a great job there. We actually saw him rank 140th in points, 150th plus in rebounds, and then 91st in assists. So he has done a pretty decent job. Now, when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, as we all know, they face off against the Golden State Warriors. Now they are currently up 2-1. They did a fantastic job last game to close things out. They were down pretty much most of the game. They were and came within striking distance, and then, you know, was able to seal the deal and get that win and give them a lead of 2-1. Now, obviously, you know, Minnesota, they did play a Stephen Curry-less sort of Golden State Warriors over the last 2 games, and those were the games that they did win for sure. But a big thing for this is that when we look at, you know, the Timberwolves, they are going to look to capitalize and try to win the next 2 games. They want to get this done and over with. They don't want Steph Curry to come back, because Steph is expected to come back, you know, around that game 6, you know, sort of time. So if he does come back in game 6 and Warriors are able to keep that lead, it could definitely be a bit of a danger for Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are looking to get this done ASAP, win this next game, game 4, game 5, and then move on into the next round. So we are expecting definitely a lot from it. Now, looking at the Timberwolves and also the Warriors matchup, now talking about the Warriors defensively, we do see that the Warriors did rank 8th in points allowed. They actually rank, when we look at assists allowed, we see that they rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, we actually see them rank 15th. So looking at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we actually do very much like the under for this situation here. A big reason being is that Golden State Warriors, even without Steph, has still been a very good defensive team. They've shown it time and time again, so we definitely see him going on the under in this one. On top of that, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, his role for this team is to play defense, and that's always been his role. You know, when it comes to his stats, he doesn't get too many points, too many rebounds, or even too many assists, because his main role out there is to defend one of the best players in that opposing team. And, you know, he leaves kind of the stats for everyone else, whether that's Anthony Edwards, Julius Randall, or you know, even some others like Jaden McDaniels. So, you know, Alexander Walker is out there just to play defense, and yes, he is a great defender, but it does lead him to be more likely to go on the under in this situation here. Now, looking at his last 5 games, we actually do see a pretty similar story. We saw in game 4 against LA Lakers, where they won 116-113. We saw him have 1 rebound, 5 points, and 0 assists in that matchup. Then in game 5, had 10 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists there, with a 103-96 victory. After that, in game 1, had a 99-88 loss, where he had 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then in game 2, had a 117-93 win against Warriors, but he had 20 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Then in game 3, a 102-97 victory, had 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. So, you know, although Nickeil is a great player, we have seen him go on the under more than he has gone on the over, especially over the last couple of games, especially during these playoffs, because we do see a lot of the usage rate falling onto players like Anthony Edwards, Gobert, Randall, Jaden McDaniels, and you know, other players like that. So for that reason, we do still very much like the under for this one. We just see Nickeil Alexander-Walker being used on defense, which is not a bad thing, but it doesn't lead to stats. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under.